All right, so I won't lie. Part of me doesn't really care about recording this episode or this video for this episode of My Hero Academia because, to be honest, not a lot really happened. A lot of it was just kind of repeating what we saw from the end of last week's episode, which was a little bit more interesting in the sense of everyone was improving their quirks, people were changing their costumes, and granted we got to see a couple of characters like new designs for their costumes, like Kirishima and Kaminari, which was really cool. We saw a scene that we didn't get to see last week, and it was basically Deku Midoriya, asking Mei Hatsume to kind of work on his outfit, but not really change it all too much, etc., etc. And then we get the scene where we got last week, where after Bakugo used his AP shot, his armor-piercing shot, a piece of debris from the rocks falls to the ground towards All Might, and then Deku kicks the shit out of it and breaks it. So yeah, that happened. Immediately afterwards, Deku sees Kirishima's and Kaminari's new costumes, which look cool. They look a lot cooler. I really do like them, even though Kirishima's outfit doesn't really look that drastically different, but it looks different enough where it looks a lot cooler, and I like it. So it's whatever. So even Deku kind of agrees with me in the sense of it's a stopgap, in the sense that he's just changing up his fighting style from what it used to be, and now he's using his legs in case of the scenario where he can't use his arms. That was the main point of it. And All Might points out that, well, it doesn't really entirely matter for what's going to happen in provisional, or however you pronounce that word, the provisional entrance exams or whatever. I forget what they actually called it. But for what they're going to do, this is really, really good for him. And All Might is, really happy that Deku started changing up his fighting style, because for what's going to happen next, especially for what they set up for next week's episode, it's very important that he actually starts using one for all full cowling shoot style. So yeah, it's really good. We also get to see a couple of glimpses of other characters changing up their costumes a little bit, like Todoroki. He changed his costume a little bit. A couple other characters changed their costumes a little bit as well. So yeah, the rest of the episode is basically just them getting ready to actually take the exams. But before any of that, continues on for I'm sorry. I don't know why that just happened all of a sudden right there, but regardless, for some reason the episode decides to have a little fan service like part of the episode where Uraka is like off like in her mind somewhere thinking about stuff, and all the other like female cast members are like talking about like, oh, like they're trying to develop my quirk, oh, we're working fucking harder than ever, oh, creating ultimate move, yada yada. Uraka is just sitting there, not really doing anything. They try to like talk to her, and they don't really get like what's going on. And then she kind of just explains that, her heart is like full of emotions, and they're all stirred up and yada yada. And I think it was Mina who calls out that it's fucking love. And obviously, when I say it's fan service, I mean in the sense of fan service for those who ship Midoriya and Uraka together. Which, granted, this is an obvious like this is like an obvious like love ship for the two characters. It's kind of obvious that eventually these two are gonna end up together, like possibly. But I like how I thought it was really funny how Uraka got so embarrassed by them calling her out on her bullshit that she uses her quirk to fucking float away. I thought it was hilarious. She even looks outside the fucking window, and they have like scene where she's just looking at Deku, and he's like practicing his fucking new fighting style with his legs and shit. And so that happens. The next scene is them, and they're at a facility where they have to take this provisional like entrance exams. I forget what they're called, and it's where we actually get to see the guys they're going to be fucking fighting. And basically what they have to do is that UA is going to be fighting a whole bunch of other schools from different parts of Japan, and basically whoever wins this can can start becoming like a semi-pro, like maybe like a sidekick. That's how they can start working on becoming like more of a pro towards their dreams and stuff. I feel like I got hiccups. I don't know. I don't know why. Probably not. It's probably just burps and gas and shit. Whatever. So we get to see a couple other characters from different schools, and it's set up to where like this one guy is like kind of fucking insane, and it almost seems like he's not really all that much. But Aizawa, Eraserhead, actually points out that he took the entrance exams over at UA and he passed, but for some reason the guy just turned it down, which was really weird. I don't understand why he turned it down like that. We meet a couple other motherfuckers from other schools. Bakugo calls out one of them, and he's like, "Yeah, what you're saying doesn't match who you truly are," and etc. etc. We meet another one of the pros. I think her name is like Miss Joke. That's her hero name, and I like her. She, ironically, her name's Miss Joke, and I keep laughing at like her relationship with Aizawa because like she's trying to like get Aizawa to like marry her or some shit. She thinks that like their love has like grown, and he's like, "Shut up!" and shit. I don't know why. I like the interaction between the two of them. I think it's really funny, but her quirk is Outburst, which basically whenever she's fighting a villain, she's trying to basically force them to start laughing at like her jokes or whatever to dully up their thinking and their movements. That way she can go in and attack them, which is a good strategy. But what if you're fighting against someone like Aizawa and it doesn't fucking work? The episode continues on. We meet a couple other cast members, and orientation starts, and they're changing into their costumes and they're getting ready to do whatever the hell they gotta do. And it's at this point where it starts becoming more and more obvious that the other schools are gonna go after UA. At the end of the episode, they start their orientations. Everyone is mainly sticking together, but obviously Bakugo's like, "Nah, this ain't like a field trip or whatever. I'm gonna leave." And Kirishima follows him because he's his fucking boyfriend. So, Todoroki goes off on his own because he's like, "Oh yeah, I don't do well in groups with my quirk and stuff." And yeah, I guess that makes sense. So it's like whatever, but it's kind of expected. So it's at this point where it's made obvious that the UA high school was the only school that went to the sports festival back in like last season, right? They were the only school that actually took part in the sports festivals, and everyone saw the sports festivals and they watched them use their quirks, and they were able to see their weaknesses and their abilities and their strong points and stuff. So something that they've been doing, I guess, for a while now, for a long time, is they're all going after UA because they know their weaknesses and their quirks, which is why they had it set up to where they want their classes to improve upon their quirks. Their provisional licensing exam, that's what it is. I just remembered it. But that's the reason why they wanted the classes in UA to improve upon their quirks, so that way their weaknesses are almost completely nullified or aren't even there whatsoever. For example, Deku, right? Deku back in early season 2 with the sports festival, when he used One for All, it completely destroyed his body, and he would basically be left immobile if he lost the use of his legs and couldn't use his arms anymore. He'd basically be immobile and he'd be fucking gone, right? And so since all that has happened, of course, he started using One for All full cowling, which allows him to use like 5-10% of One for All, so he can actually still be able to use the strength and the power and speed of One for All without completely destroying his body. But of course, in most scenarios, when you go against like some asshole like Muscular, you need a little bit more than 5% in order to take down that fucking asshole. So that's pretty much it. The rest of the episode is just us seeing a couple of the class of 1A, the main cast of characters rather, using their quirks a little bit. Even Mineta, was just surprising to me. It kind of surprised me. He like started fucking defending himself. Obviously started defending himself, but it's like I didn't expect him to do it now, especially at the end of this episode, which was neat, I guess. So that's pretty much the entirety of the episode. It's pretty much just a setup for what's gonna happen next week, and I'm more excited for next week, especially from what we see in the previews. But I'm excited for what else is going to happen, and I wasn't really excited for what was in the context of this episode. It was just a setup for what's going to happen eventually when we get to next week, or rather this week because it's Sunday. Anyways, I'll see you guys in the next one. Leave a like and subscribe if you are new. If you did enjoy, of course. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next video. I hope you guys have a fantastic day. I'm out. Peace.